Welcome back to Wildcard Weekend. This is our NFL bet show where we go through, give you our favorite three picks, including our lock of the week. We've arrived. The playoffs are here, and we're gonna continue. We went 7-5 last week, so
yeah. Wait, before we dive into the playoffs, can we all just let's all take a moment, look back on the season, these 18 weeks. We fucking crushed it, boys. We fucking killed it this year. We are sharks do 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 do. We are sharps do 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 do.
I'm trying to. I think so. I'm gonna quickly do it because the record is pretty. So we were what 96
Couldn't have pre-added this.
30 one. So we're 125 and 36 50,
And 10. Only 10 losses on the season, I think.
and 76.
Yeah.
125 and 76, and then I think there was
There's a couple of pushes.
three pushes or something. That is wild. I mean, let's just get that percentage real quick here.
Gotta get the percentage.
87.5. No, I did that wrong.
No.
Definitely not right. Closer to 65.
63%. About 63%.
Sharp. What is it? 50.6 or yeah, because of the rate, because of the
50.5.
Yeah. It's like slightly over 50. So
and yeah, it was like 42 and 20 something on the locks. So that, I mean, I think it was like probably 65 to 70% on the locks.
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't like money, don't watch the show.
It was a great year. We had a great year last year, and it was an even better 2023. And we're going to continue that. We're going to try to get this 63 up to 65 or more percent by the end of the Super Bowl. It is a lot harder. I'll say, like, when the playoffs come, there's a lot of, I mean, it's still a small sample size and, only 17, 18 weeks. So it's not like it's a large sample size, but lines start getting a lot sharper as the season goes on. But I don't know. I still think there's some lines that aren't right. So let's go through, start off with our first pick.
All right. Well, I will go for it. It is not the game of the week. It is going to be probably the worst game on the slate, if I had to guess. It is Bills, Steelers. I'm taking the under 36.5 here. I don't think the Steelers score 7 points. I don't think they score a touchdown at all in this game. I think all the scoring comes from the Bills side. The Bills have been a wagon since they needed to basically win out every single game. Their offense seems to be clicking. The Steelers are, I believe, 1-12 without Watt on their team. Watt is not playing this week. And also, the biggest blemish of this entire game is the weather. The weather in Buffalo is going to be miserable. The biggest stat I can give this, I'm sure Alex will probably give it too, but I will jump ahead here. The under in games with average wind speeds over 13.5 miles per hour, 13 miles per hour this week or this year, 14, 2, and 1 to the under. This week in Buffalo, it will be 17 miles per hour. And you add that to a team who has a pitiful offense and the Steelers, who are just going to want to run the ball. I just don't think they can score that many points. I think all the scoring comes from Buffalo. So give me the Bills here under the 36.5.
I'm with you, Corey. You laid it out. Great, man. I mean, 14, 2, and 1 to the under. Pittsburgh 1-10 straight up without Watt, 4, 6, and 1 ATS. So, I mean, big spread here, but I think the Bills just get it done. I think they continue this absolute wagon that they've been on. Josh Allen, I think, has an argument for the MVP. And I think he continues to play it at a high level.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll give for this other stat, this goes back for 3 seasons with the win being over that allotted amount. Games are 110, 55, and 1 to the under. So that's over 50%, 60%. So give me, I mean, I think the under is a great play here.
It's really disappointing you guys kicked off with such a loser pick, because I'm taking the over here. All right. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, two teams built for terrible weather football. Like, the ground and pound game is going to be in full effect. I mean, the Steelers, you don't think they're going to score. They ran the ball 40 times last game on like a sunny day. So, and they did it effectively. So,
Wait.
what?
You talking about last week? They ran the ball 40 times on a sunny day.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a snowball.
Torrential downpour.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
It was not.
It wasn't fine.
It was definitely not fine.
It wasn't a sunny day. I mean, that was a little sarcastic, but like, it was fine.
It's not fine outside.
Anyways, so they're going to keep the ground and pound game going with Najee and Jalen Warren. I think, like, if you had to put any other team in this spot, which we'll see with the Chiefs and Dolphins too, like, they're going to have a much tougher time moving the ball because they're aerial attack offenses. So I think Pittsburgh's kind of made for this game and this type of football. And on the opposite side too, it got me thinking back to the Snow Bowl. It was Buffalo versus New England. I think it was like they got a foot of snow during the game, and it might have been like -30 or something crazy like that. It was a couple years ago now, but I look back at the stats at that. Josh Allen still threw the ball 30 times, completed just over half of those. So they're still out there slinging it. And, I think Dawson Knox is back in form, Dalton Kincaid. And, a lot of these short routes, I think, are going to be the way that the Bills can move the football pretty good. So taking the over here, expecting a nice ground and pound game here. So.
Yeah, my first pick, well, I have two picks. One of them's in this game as well, but it's my lock. But I'll start off with Buffalo -10. And I think the Steelers, like Corey said, like, I think points are scored in this game, but almost all by the Bills. Like, I think the Bills are putting up 30 minimum by themselves. The defense without TJ Watt, I mean, they're not gonna get any pressure. Josh Allen is going to be able to do whatever he wants in this game. And I do not see a way. The Steelers, the biggest frauds in this play, like Mason Rudolph is playing in a playoff game. That tells you all you need to know. I don't think they can set, because it's like a playoff game, I don't think they can set this line high enough. Like, they're just kind of keeping it at 10. And I think this should be closer to 2 touchdowns. The Buffalo is just going to like, it's like pretty much like a bye week. They're already looking to the Chiefs next week.
It's basically Josh Allen versus Mother Nature in this game. See, like, how much that wind really affects them.
The way they're using Diggs, like, in motion now, like, there's like, I feel like they're looking at like what all these other receivers, like, how they use Jefferson and Lamb, how, like, we remember after the bye, I believe, like, Lamb, started out, he had a decent year, and then after the bye, his role just completely changed. Like, they're just like, this offense is like moving through you. And they kind of started to do that with Diggs last week. They were putting him in motion a ton, like, to get him, Jalen Ramsey was shadowing him, but when you kind of use motion, it's hard to do that. And so I think they're going to continue to use Diggs in that way through the rest of these playoffs. And I think he's going to have a big game.
For the meaningless stat for this game, I do have one. I was just waiting for everyone to go through their picks, just to throw it back out there. The total has gone under 7 of Buffalo's last 8 games against Pittsburgh. So it's pointing towards the under.
Nick, I'll give you one chance right now to flip your pick.
Flip it.
Absolutely not. I don't know if you heard Josh Allen's interview. They were, asking him if he was concerned about the game. And what does the guy do? He's like, we got the best equipment staff in the league. These guys do it right. So they're going to be coming out in their snowshoes.
Deflated footballs, maybe.
They're going to be ready to run. Like, what's a little weather to these guys? Nothing.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to my.
I mean, last year we had farmers digging Josh Allen out of his driveway so he could get to the game. Like, you don't think this Buffalo football team is afraid of a little snow? No chance.
Is it going to be snowing, or is it just going to be very poor, cold, and windy?
I don't care what it is. I don't care what the conditions are. They're moving it.
All right. All right. Well,
All right. I mean, the game's Saturday, or is it Sunday?
Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
It shows some snow, possibly.
Oh, it's January in Buffalo. I would assume there's probably some snow.
Yeah,
Well, we're
wind,
gonna we're
could
supposed
be
to get
in,
a
like-
foot Thursday and Friday in Chicago, so give it a day or two, pick up some steam along the Great Lakes, and should be a nice snowy game for him.
Yeah, it says rain, snow, wind, like winds between like around 30 miles an hour.
Over's a lock.
Winds southwest 25 to 35 miles an hour. Chance of snow 30%. Winds could occasionally gust over 50.
Music to my ears.
Maybe we'll have to get back to
Could
that
you imagine how
SSBC
fast
contest.
Diggs
Maybe
is
Boswell's
gonna-
not the pick.
Could you imagine how fast Diggs is going to be running down the field
know.
with 50-mile-an-hour winds?
I
in his
know
back?
he's gonna be
He's
flying.
definitely
Nick.
breaking the in-game speed record.
Josh Allen's gonna throw it 160 yards with that, dude.
Yeah,
Jalen
he
Warren,
just has to throw
Jalen
it
Warren
straight
with
up in
a
the air.
50
and,
mile
like,
an
it'll
hour
just
breeze
float.
behind him.
Yeah,
All right. All right. We'll see. We'll see.
we might see 100-yard field goal in this game, and you guys want the under.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our second pick.
All right, I'll hop in here. I'm gonna go to the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff Revenge Bowl, and I'm looking at points on both sides. I'm gonna take the over. It's very high right now, 51.5. But this to me is the game on the slate that is bound to shoot out. Both of these guys are going to want to show the other team that they messed up getting rid of him. I mean, Stafford kind of already solidified the reason that the Rams went out and got him, but I think he wants to go back to Detroit, and I think he wants to put on a show for his, original hometown team, we'll call it. And on the other side, obviously Laporta goes down, which is a big knock to the Lions offense here. But, CMC or not CMC, Motor City Dan Campbell, MCDC. There we go. I'm slightly more okay with him playing his starters last week. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but he's that type of coach. He's always been that type of coach, and if that's the consistency that you want to see out of a guy, and so it sucks that Laporta got hurt, but I think this is bound for a shootout. So
I completely disagree. I was a huge Dan Campbell fan all year. Very disappointed to see him play his starters, and it bit him in the ass. Laporta is a huge part of that offense, and the thing that I hate to see the most is the game before too, when he goes for fourth down like 4 times instead of just kicking the field goal and going to overtime. It tells me he's a young, experienced coach. He's letting the emotions of the moment get to him, and that is the exact type of coach that will not win a playoff game. He's going up against Sean McVay and Aaron Donald's run defense. Like, that's not a good combo for them. They're in a bad spot. So I'm taking the Rams here +3. I think hero Matthew Stafford goes home and becomes the villain, NFL scriptwriter's dream, and he's going to get the job done. So you're not going to beat McVay on emotion. Like, I was really disappointed to see that out of him. Like, that's what makes coaches great opposed to good, is like being able to control everyone in those high pressure moments and making the right decision. And he totally let himself get away and caught up in all the drama of the flag, of that lineman not being eligible and all that stuff, and like he totally just collapsed in that moment. So I have no faith in him going into the playoffs, and I expect McVay to capitalize on that and try to get under his skin. Like, McVay's very much a head game type of coach, and Dan Campbell's just not going to be there for it.
Yeah, Detroit did something very dirty today, which they probably shouldn't have done. The fans put out a Matthew Stafford banned jersey for Detroit Lions fans. Like, dude, you can't do that. That guy, that's like banning Peyton Manning jerseys from Lucas Oil Stadium. Like, he did so much for that franchise. Yeah, they didn't really win anything, but like, I mean, he didn't have much to work with either. He was there for all
Yeah,
the
just
ups and
Megatron.
downs. He was there for all the ups and downs. You can't do that. I would be on the Rams too, +3. I think it's a bad spot, but that's just me.
It's bad
I mean,
matchup for Lions.
Yeah, I just don't think they match up well either. Like aside from all the coaching drama,
If they had Laporta, it would be because you can beat the Rams with tight ends, and Laporta's a great one. So, but it's like, yeah, you screwed yourself. You played the starters because you're this hoorah. We're going in. I've said it before. I was like, any team that plays the starters this week, they're so stupid. Eagles did it. AJ Brown gets hurt after they're already dealing. Jalen Hurts get hurt. Like, what are
broke his
teams
finger.
doing? Like, when you
Yeah.
have nothing to play for, why are you doing that? Why do you not like? Teams are so banged up. Why would you not take that rest, like, and get your guys healthy? It is such a stupid decision. While you have, the juggernauts, these teams resting, and you're out there playing hard. Like, it's just so dumb.
It's
I'll never
emotion.
understand it.
Pointless games costing that city millions.
Yep. My next pick is Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles, I'm still taking them. Eagles -3. They're playing Baker Mayfield in the playoffs.
Goat.
Yeah, that should be. I should just end my reasoning right there. I should just not have to speak anymore. The Eagles are 3-point favorites to Baker Mayfield. I get it; it's on the road, but I mean, Tampa, you attack them, through the air. The Eagles, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. They have AJ Brown, Goddard, Devonta Smith, and I think the line is start. I mean, it was 2.5, and it's moved to 3 already. Obviously, you got 2.5. Like, I mean, that's just a slam dunk pick. But they're expect like AJ Brown and Smith. They're gonna play. I mean, they're all gonna play. I don't see any way that they sit. Sure, they might not. Maybe AJ Brown's 80%, maybe Smith 75, 80. That's enough to beat Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. And I don't know. To me, the Eagles hate is so crazy. Like, that's all the media is pumping right now is just the Eagles suck, the Eagles this.
I mean, they haven't been playing good
Peop-
football. I get
yeah,
why
but
that's a narrative, but
yeah, they still their offense before the Giants game, they had put up 30 points each time. Yes, their defense has struggled, but like, again, it's Baker Mayfield. This line is set. Nobody wants to bet the Eagles right now. Like, nobody does. And line makers know that this line is shaded towards the Bucks, and this line should be way over this key number of 3. The
yeah.
Eagles are the play here. Take them.
I mean, you're really betting on a bounce back spot. I think exactly a month ago, I saw Eagles were 10-1. Jalen Hurts was unanimous MVP
Yeah.
talk, like completely a 180 from where they are today. Obviously, a few injuries here and there. The past 2 weeks is probably a good reason for the lack of play. I mean, the defense is pretty suspect and has been all year, but they're definitely the better team.
By far.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Okay, going to my second pick here. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns -2.5 against Texans. If you really think about it, this should be the Colts in this position. If the refs didn't cheat the Colts out of the Browns game, and if Goodson had some hands and caught the ball, we'd be in a different position here. But it is what it is. I'm not, looking back on the past or anything like that. I'm taking the Browns here at -2.5. I think they're a much better team.
Yeah, they are.
Much more complete team than the Texans are. Texans are still battling with injuries as well. We don't know if Noah Brown's going to play. Don't know if Robert Woods is going to play. They still have injuries on their defensive line. Their team, I mean, Will Anderson barely played at all against the Colts. Like, he was coming in and out on plays just on pass downs. Like, he's not fully healthy. Like, he's going to play, but I mean, he's not, fully healthy. And we know what the Browns are going to want to do. They're going to run the ball. I mean, Jerome Ford is obviously not Jonathan Taylor. I'm not expecting him to have this type of game against.
They just played each other, didn't they, recently?
Yeah, they did, but they didn't have. Houston was without CJ Stroud, so
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, hats off to CJ Stroud. He's had a really good year. Rookie of the year probably. But I just like the Browns. I think they're more of a seasoned team here. The Houston Texans are playing rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. Not saying DeMeco Ryan hasn't been in this position before, because obviously he was with the 49ers, but I just like the play. I think Joe Flacco has a good game. You can beat the Houston Texans in multiple different ways, and I think the Browns have the pieces to be able to do it. So I will take the Browns here -2.5. And my meaningless stat for this game is the Houston Texans are 2-9 straight up in the last 11 games played against the AFC North. So give me the Brownies.
Well, I'm excited you're riding with me this week, Corey. Dog Pound's going to be lit up. I'm so excited for this game. Jim Schwartz has the best defense in the NFL. So hyped up. They're playing absolutely out of their minds. They're going to shut down Nico Collins so easily. Martin Emerson is so great against tall, fast wide receivers. He's been doing it all year. He has one of the best coverage grades in the league, and he's our third best cornerback. So I think they're going to shut down CJ Stroud in the pass game. I think Dalton Schultz is probably going to have a nice day, but Devin Singletary, he ain't beating Myles Garrett. We're going to stuff him up, and it's not going to be good for the Texans at all. So, Dog Pound defense wins championships. And for all my conspiracy theory fans out there, what a better script for the NFL to write than Joe Flacco going into Baltimore and playing his old team, right? Like, no one ever thought this would happen. So, perfect script writing for week 2 of the playoffs. So it's an easy one on a lot of different fronts.
Go it's Browns. So funny because the Nick bit with the conspiracy theory, like first round of the playoffs, you get Goff versus the Rams, Stafford versus the Lions, McCarthy versus the Packers.
Yeah.
And then you have the next round matchup of possibly Flacco versus the
You got Tyreek going back to Kansas
Tyreek
City.
in Kansas City.
Every game has like some storylines to it.
Oh, yeah.
And the best part of it all, they put the Chiefs game on the Peacock network, so all the Taylor Swift fans have to go buy Peacock now. It's just genius. Like some of the best businessmen I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible.
That's why they're the kings.
Nick's script writing narrative just continues to get stronger.
Well, speaking of Swifties on the cock, we're going to this game, Dolphins and Chiefs. So, Dolphins kind of limping into the playoffs here. Chiefs obviously haven't looked their best the entire year, but they've got 2 weeks now to game prep and to get healthy, resting their guys. Week 18, and Mahomes in Arrowhead in the playoffs is a different animal. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here -4. I just think the Dolphins, while they've been exciting to watch all year, are just too injured at this point. They haven't been able to stay healthy on either side of the ball. The offense is completely different when they don't have Waddle out there. You're able to game script out Tyreek as much as possible. It's not foolproof. Obviously, it's Tyreek. But without Waddle out there, they can really just double cover him pretty much every play, put a safety over the top on him, and limit those deep balls. So, I'm going with Mahomes here. I think the Chiefs, for how bad they've looked, they're still getting home playoff games with Mahomes. So, rolling with them until I'm proven otherwise.
Yeah, and to give you a little extra ammo with that game, Tua is 2-9 straight up, 371 ATS away from home versus winning teams. Miami is 8-19 straight up in the last 20 years in sub 40-degree weather.
I was going to add that a little bit. Yeah, I've got 2-7 ATS, 0-9 straight up in games below 40 degrees since 2017. So on top of it all, it's a uniform matchup. We all know that these Dolphins, they put up with Skylar Thompson, they put up some points last year in that snow game in Buffalo, but I don't see it happening here. They got a tough draw. They're coming in injured. Give me Mahomes.
Yeah, that team beats you with speed, and like weather is probably the harshest against teams that do that. So it's like
Yep.
they're losing their edge. Yeah, I
The
hate to say
defense is
that the
just
Chiefs are going to win.
their defense is just so banged up. I mean,
Yeah,
on top of Waddle, on top of Mostert.
Waddle's probably going to play though.
I think
But,
both.
they're gonna be banged up, but they're gonna
Right.
play.
I mean, no one's fully healthy at this point in the year, right? But
Waddle's definitely not, and Tyreek still's not either. They're
right.
And the cold, that doesn't help.
Right.
yeah. And I don't know if you guys watched the Bills Dolphins game last week, but Tua on the final drive looked so bad. Like a high pressure moment like that. And even if this game is close, like in Arrowhead, it's just going to be too much. Like if he couldn't even handle a regular season game, going into Arrowhead, probably the hardest stadium, inclement weather, just not a good recipe for him.
Yep. All right. Well, my lock of the week: Pittsburgh Buffalo over 36.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm tailing you, Nick.
Yeah, you're trailing me. I knew it.
Yep, trailing Nick here. But yeah, I mean, Nick kind of said some of it. It's kind of like Buffalo, the way you attack them is on the ground. And what I said in my Buffalo -10 pick was I think the Bills are putting up 30 by themselves. So do I think Pittsburgh scores a touchdown? I do. I think they score a minimum of 1 touchdown. And I think that's probably Jaylen Warren scoring in this spot. It's going to be more of his game script. Like Najee has kind of had the game scripts the last few games. I mean, in their 2 of their last 3 games, they put up 30+ points. And, playing a little bit more ahead. I think Jaylen Warren gets heavy usage in the pass game here. And like I said, I think Pittsburgh scores a touchdown, meaning I think this game is getting to 37 minimum. So again,
you know what I also like?
If there wasn't this weather, this total is easily in the 40s. So people have to understand that the 36 accounts for that weather. And it's probably even artificially bumped down a bit. Like I think like the line, 38-ish sounds like accounting for weather, but then they kind of probably bump it down a little bit more because people want to bet the under in spots like this. So I think the over is the play here. A lock of the week.
I mean, could you imagine Mason Rudolph like trying to huck a 20-yard pass to like
Pickens?
George Pickens, like streaking it in like a 50-mile-an-hour gust, just like pushes the ball 10 yards straight into the defender, and like pick 6 potential has so much.
Yeah, I mean, defensive
game.
chances go up to score. Like, it's just 36 is just too low.
Yeah,
easy over.
I just assume that the Bills are just gonna, or the Bills are just gonna stack the box.
Yeah, how many points?
All right, Mason Rudolph, go ahead.
How many points do you think the Bills are scoring?
Probably like 27. And then they just pull everyone.
27-14,
and then probably get a field
doable.
goal. They get 30.
Not getting.
Who does Pittsburgh score?
I think Pittsburgh maybe scores 1 field goal.
That's crazy to project that.
How?
To project a team to score 1 field goal is insane. Yes. You should, instead of taking the
big
under,
Iowa Hawkeyes fan over here.
If that's your take, don't bet the under. Go bet Pittsburgh to not score a touchdown. See what odds you can get.
I will. It's probably like plus down here it's a little skewed, but no, we won't get into that. But I will get into my lock of the week here before we get ourselves in trouble here and canceled. I will be taking the Green Bay Packers on the road plus 7.5 against the Dallas Cowboys, or should I say fraud boys, as people like to call them.
Oh, you're gonna eat those words this whole playoffs.
I'm not, because I just don't trust the Dallas Cowboys. Just don't do it. Are they a wagon at home? Yes, they are. They are indeed. Is their defense as good as it has been? No, I don't think it is. I think it's very overhyped. I think their secondary, their secondary is extremely banged up. We know what the Packers like to do. They like to throw the ball. Jordan Love is long, as much as PB likes to hate Jordan Love, he has looked very, very good the last 4 weeks or plus, whatever it's been. Yes, he's had some blemishes in there, but overall, also the entire year, he's looked pretty good with his stats. Now he gets to go. I mean, it's gonna be a very hostile environment. Dallas Cowboys is probably their Super Bowl. It's the last game of the year for them because I think the Cowboys do win this game, but I think I think the Packers keep it close. I really think they do. The Packers, we know what they like to do. They like to throw the ball. They have 3 extremely fast individuals on their team. Christian Watson, does he play? Does he not play? I don't think it matters. Patrick Reed has been very, very good. Dubes is still there. Musgrave is back and healthy. I think he gives a huge boost to that team. And like I said, Dallas Gilmore went out last week. We don't know if he's gonna be healthy for this game. Dron Bland is just a ball hog. I mean, he's not even a good defender in my eyes. He just gets gifted with pick sixes. So I think Jordan Love probably throws the ball probably 45 plus times this game. And I think they keep it close. Do I think they win? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously it'd be a huge upset here, but Green Bay is 5-1 ATS in the last 6 games against Dallas. So I will be taking that to the bank with my +7.5. Lock it in.
Well, I think that game's going to be like 38-10.
Good. I mean,
Cowboys.
The Packers defense has also been playing very well. I mean, I understand Justin Fields is not. Dak Prescott.
I would take the under in this game if anything.
I'm just saying, like their defense. If the Packers defense play like they did last week, this is going to be a much closer game than what it is because
a low scoring game.
They totally out-schemed Justin Herbert. Oh my God, Justin Fields. In that game, obviously the Bears offense coordinator's gone now and called a terrible game, but Packers defense still played a hell of a game. So I think they continue it.
I think you're kind of delusional.
I think you're delusional.
That's Corey. How's Corey starting off the playoffs with betting on Jordan Love as his lock of the week?
Like, hey, remember? Hey, whoa,
you're excited that they beat.
Hang on, let me reverse that because I got laughed out last week by PB for taking the Titans +5.5 when I should have taken the money line, and he laughed at me then. And who's laughing now, PB?
That wasn't your lock. That wasn't your lock, though. Do you know what your lock was?
Who's on top?
Do you know what your lock was?
Who's on top?
The Colts +1.5.
Who's on top?
That
was your lock. Colts 1.5.
I'm just saying.
Buffalo wagon.
You told me last week that I was maniac for saying that the Jags wouldn't make the playoffs, that they're the frauds of the AFC, and you laughed and you said, "No, they're making the playoffs. They're making the playoffs." Well, they're not. They're in Cancun with the Colts, so suck it.
All right. Well, that will do it for our wild card bets episode. We'll be back next week. It only gets more fun from here. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.